at this point, we're really close to the Avengers Age of Ultron, so let's celebrate by talking about my personal favorite of the standalone Marvel movies. Captain America is cool now. And again, this is going to be a spoiler review. If you haven't seen Captain America the Winter Soldier, go ahead and watch my spoiler-free review. The link is in the description below. Now, Captain America the Winter Soldier takes place about a couple of years after the events of the Avengers. Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, he is working for S.H.I.E.L.D. now. And holy crap, I love Captain America more in this movie than I did in Captain America the First Avenger and the Avengers combined. When we see Captain America using that shield, it is some of the coolest stuff ever. And we get to see more Cap in more action scenes. And as I said before, I love his costume in this movie than I did in the Avengers, because the costume that he wore in the Avengers, it looked like a Halloween costume you would find at Walmart. But this costume, it makes him look more efficient and real, other than just some dude in a costume. And it was less laughable. While Captain America is saving the civilians, Black Widow's with them, and she has a side mission where she recovers some files from S.H.I.E.L.D. And Cap's not happy with that, so he goes to visit Nick Fury, and they have a brief conversation where he takes him underground, where he shows him the new helicarriers. And these new helicarriers are made to shoot anyone that is about to do a crime, and they know exactly everybody. And I love Cap's take on this, because this whole thing is about secrets and lies they lead to bad things. And ultimately, S.H.I.E.L.D., they want freedom for the American people, but Cap's like, but this isn't freedom, this is fear. Now, I love Captain America in this movie. We get to see what I wanted to see from Captain America that we didn't get to see in the Avengers. We see Captain America, he adapts to the modern world and adapt to how things work in this modern world. And how Steve Rogers tries to bring his ideologies that he's come accustomed to from the 1940s and bring it into present day. So Captain America, he's not my favorite Avenger, but I can respect him and I love his backstory. Because Captain America, he represents what every American should aspire to be. And I love the way they illustrate that in this movie. And then we see Steve go to the Smithsonian, where he goes through all these expos, tells them about World War II, which he was a part of in the whole Hydra situation. And he sees all his old friends, including Bucky and even Peggy. This movie especially gets brownie points for me because this movie was partly shot in D.C. And I live in Maryland, so in a sense, I practically live near Washington, D.C. And so when I see all the D.C. shots in this film, I was like, yep, I know that. Yep, I know that place too. I see that place. Of course, I know the National Monument, and even the Smithsonian. It looked like the Smithsonian. They didn't try to make their own Smithsonian. It looked like the actual Smithsonian, unlike some other movies that tried to do that. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. But the biggest thing for me that brings this movie full circle to Captain America: The First Avenger is when Captain Steve visits Peggy. Peggy, she's in a home and she's old and gray and she has Alzheimer's. She doesn't remember anything, but it was cool to see Steve Rogers react with Peggy after all these years. My only criticism about that is I wish they would actually make her look old instead of using CGI, and it was noticeable. Like, to me, that was just pure lazy. Like, hire a makeup artist to make her look old instead of using CGI, because CGI just makes it look like a computer or whatever. It just doesn't look right, alright? Now, jumping back to Nick Fury, we get a cool action sequence where Nick Fury, he is being hunted and chased by the police and some of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it was cool seeing Nick Fury, he gets some action in these movies, and he is more of a badass than people think he is. But then he is stopped by the Winter Soldier. Luckily, Nick Fury, he gets out of that, he goes to Captain America's apartment, but then he is shot and killed by the Winter Soldier. After this, everyone is suspicious of Captain America, wondering why Nick Fury was at his apartment. So Captain America visits Alexander Pierce, who is played by Robert Redford. And Robert Redford, he's the Secretary of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he pretty much told Captain America, I don't know what happened, but I'm going to find out who killed my friend. And then this leads to Captain America in the elevator scene that we all saw in the trailers. But once we saw it in the context of the movie, it was actually cool. It was cool seeing Captain America use his surroundings to observe people. The people get on the elevator and everyone's sweating and holding onto the guns, and Captain America's like, before we get started, who wants to get off first? And then everyone just starts attacking them, and then Captain America, he's just cleaning the house on that elevator. And then he ends up getting away, and so he meets up with Black Widow. They find out what's on that hard drive, and that leads them to New Jersey. Now, before I continue, I love the chemistry between Captain America and Black Widow in this movie. Black Widow was played by Scarlett Johansson, of course. So, very beautiful. But I love the chemistry between them. I like that they didn't go the route of making Captain America and Black Widow fall in love with each other or whatever. They were just comrades that respected each other and they helped each other. And it was cool when they were in that mall and they were kissing each other. Black Widow pretty much explained that public display of affection makes people uncomfortable. And so they go to New Jersey where they find this hidden convoy where they find out that Arnim Zola, his brain was hidden inside these computers, and they find out that Hydra is still alive and is hidden inside S.H.I.E.L.D. I love that they went that route because it made the universe a lot cooler than it already is. And it even made some of the Marvel movies that weren't so good or just pretty okay even better. That's one of the strengths I love about this movie is all the callbacks to Captain America, the First Avenger. Red Skull, they didn't really go anywhere with it, but instead they did something with Hydra. And so I love the fact that they brought back Hydra. So in that, it displays that the good guys are actually the bad guys. Hydra, it's been growing inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. all this time. And it puts Steve Rogers on ease because pretty much if Hydra never really went anywhere, they just been hiding inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. the whole time, then Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, he pretty much put himself in ice for no reason. And so Steve and Black Widow, they also ended up teaming up with Sam Wilson, aka Falcon, played by Anthony Mackie. And so Captain Black Widow, they end up teaming with Sam Wilson, aka Falcon, who is played by Anthony Mackie. And I loved Anthony Mackie in this film, and I loved the chemistry that he has with Steve Rogers. Captain America, he finds a kindred spirit in Sam Wilson, because both him and Steve Rogers, they've shared the same experiences, and they both know what it's like to have been at war, and to be a soldier. Of course, you know I love it because it brings much needed diversity to these movies, and to the Avengers. I really can't wait to see what they do with him in future movies, and it's even said that he has a role in the Avengers Age of Ultron, and that he's supposed to be in Captain America Civil War, in between Falcon and Black Panther. This is the excitement! We even learned that the Senator from Iron Man 2, he's working with Hydra, and it even makes Iron Man 2 a lot better because the whole point of the Senator in Iron Man 2 was he wanted Tony Stark to turn away his suits. If Tony Stark turned away his suits, the Senator would have had his hands on them, and then Hydra would have gotten their hands on them, and they would have used that against the American people. I just love how they bring all these movies together. And so we get into another action sequence with Falcon, Cap, and Black Widow, and that action sequence was really cool. That's one of the things I love. That's another strength about this movie, is the action sequences in this movie. But Captain America, he ends up fighting the Winter Soldier for the first time, and this is the shocking revelation that the Winter Soldier is actually Bucky Barnes, Steve Rogers' best friend. What happened was when Bucky, he fell off that train in the First Avenger, Arnim Zola got a hold of him. They cut his arm off and put a metal arm on him. They erased his memory and then put him on ice for a couple of years. And now Bucky, he is now this death machine going around assassinating and killing people, and has no memory of Steve Rogers or anything that happened back in the 40s. And it really blows me that a lot of people consider that a sport. I'm like, dude, it's in the comics, and they even said that in all the marketing. So, and even if you look up who plays the Winter Soldier, it says Sebastian Stan, who played Bucky in the First Avenger. Long story short, they all find out that Nick Fury is still alive, and he is with Agent Maria Hill, played by Copious Molders, and she gives them these chips that they use that they have to plant inside the new helicarriers, so that the helicarriers, instead of shooting people, they shoot themselves and they'll fall out of the sky. And I love when they explain that to him, because after this, Nick Fury is like, alright, after that's done, then maybe we can salvage S.H.I.E.L.D. And then Steve Rogers is like, we're not salvaging anything. And that's another thing that I love about Steve Rogers, is his ideologies and what he stands for. Because again, Hydra is planted inside S.H.I.E.L.D. and all the political people, they're pulling the strings, and they're ultimately the bad guys, even though they said they're the good guys. And then Steve Rogers is like, I don't care what they are, they still gotta go. And so therefore Hydra is inside S.H.I.E.L.D., so therefore S.H.I.E.L.D. has got to go. All of it's got to go. Like, in the end, people are power hungry, and so the good guys turn out to be the bad guys, and sometimes you work for them, and then Steve Rogers is like, I don't care, they're still the bad guys, so therefore they got to go. And so they all agree to that, and that leads to a sweet, awesome climax. It's where Steve Rogers, he reveals to S.H.I.E.L.D. that S.H.I.E.L.D. is inside Hydra. So Captain America, Falcon, Black Widow, Nick Fury, and Agent Maria Hill, they all work together to bring down S.H.I.E.L.D./Hydra. Captain America and Falcon are fighting together. Black Widow and Nick Fury, they're working together, and they confront Alexander Pierce, and eventually they take him down. Agent Maria Hill, she's walking with them throughout the whole thing. And then lastly, Captain America ends up fighting Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier. And I love that scene because it was real emotional, but at the same time, it wasn't cliche. There's a flashback to the 40s where Steve Rogers and Bucky, they just went from one of Steve Rogers' parents' funeral, and Bucky tells Steve, I'm with you to the end. And so Captain America, he's all wounded and defeated, and Bucky, he's just beating the crap out of him. And Stevie's like, I'm not fighting you, Bucky. And Bucky's like, you are my mission! And then Steve's like, then finish it, because I'm with you to the end. And then Steve falls to the glass and into the ocean, but then Bucky saves him and then puts him to shore. But I like how that ends, because it didn't just end with Bucky being like, oh, I know who I am now. My friend, Steve! No, it ends with Bucky being like, all right, I'll put you right here. I beat the crap out of you, but I'm going to put you here. I'm just going to walk away from right now, and I'm going to figure some stuff out real quick. I like that they went that route. So Steve Rogers, he wakes up in the hospital next to Falcon, listening to Trouble Man by Marvin Gaye. Agent Maria Hill, she's working with Stark Industries now. Black Widow, she had to explain to the congressman and council or whoever of the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. situation, and everyone still thinks that Nick Fury is dead, which he's still alive. But that makes up for a sweet, awesome Easter egg, where they are visiting Nick Fury's grave, and what's engraved on it? Nicholas J. Fury, The Path of the Righteous Men, Ezekiel 25:17, Pulp Fiction reference. By the end of this movie, I'm like, wow, S.H.I.E.L.D. is gone. Like, S.H.I.E.L.D. is really gone, and it makes me wonder how the rest of these Marvel movies are going to go. But then just recently, it put a theory in my head. So, is that the reason why the Avengers are assembled in the beginning of the Avengers Age of Ultron? Possibly, because S.H.I.E.L.D. is gone, so Stark, he assembles everybody so that they can deal with all the stuff that S.H.I.E.L.D. would normally take care of. And at the time when I saw this movie, I was like, so what does this mean for the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? And luckily, they explained that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and because of this revelation, it actually made the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a lot better than it was. And the whole Hydra aspect and S.H.I.E.L.D. being gone, it plays into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I can appreciate because, again, it makes the show a lot better than it was in the beginning. And we all know how the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is. In the end, Black Widow gives Captain America some files about Bucky so that he can go after Bucky, and that's a good way to set up future movies. Now for the two end credit scenes. The first one, we get our first glimpse of Quicksilver. No, not that one. Not the one from Days of Future Past. I'm talking about this one. We get our first glimpse of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen, who apparently played husband and wife in Godzilla, and now they're playing brother and sister. But anyways, we get our first glimpse of them, and apparently that doctor that's holding them hostage or whatever, he still has Loki's scepter. Now, I don't know what all this means for the Avengers Age of Ultron, but I'm excited to see how it all plays out in that movie. And then the second one, we see Bucky. He is visiting the Smithsonian, and he sees pretty much his obituary in that little expo. And I guess that kind of hits that Bucky. He's starting to get his memory back, and he's starting to realize who he is. And I can't wait to see what they do with him in future movies. In conclusion, like I said, Captain America the Winter Soldier is, in my opinion, the best standalone Marvel film. It made Captain America cool. All the characters were cool and relevant in this movie. This was the best Nick Fury film. This was the best Black Widow film. Falcon, he was cool in the movie. I can't wait to see what they do with him in future films. I can't wait to see what they do with the Winter Soldier in future films. I don't know how they're going to handle the whole Hydra situation in all the movies, because we already know how they're handling that in the TV. But I don't know how they're going to handle that in the movies, though. But it's all part of the excitement and the anticipation, though. I am telling you, this is not just a great comic book film. This is also a great film in general. And I love the direction that they went with this film by making it kind of a spy thriller thing. And that credit goes to the Russo brothers, who has directed a couple of episodes of Community, the Paintball episodes to be specific, and hell, there's even a cameo by Abed himself in the movie. But the credit goes to the Russo brothers, and I can't wait to see what they do in the future with these Marvel movies and in future movies in general. And I love all the callbacks in this movie that they made to Captain America: The First Avenger. I gave this movie an A++, and I stand by that rating because Captain America: The Winter Soldier is an A++. First off, shout out to my man Destan Harrod, or as me and my boys call him, Zooty. He created my new logo, and so big shout out to him. I'll put his Twitter in the description below. Make sure you hit him up and tell him who sent you. He does all types of graphic designs. If you want a logo from him or whatever, contact him. And also big shout out to Ripped Apparel, which I got this shirt right here that has Nick Fury, and it says, I want you to avenge. I love this shirt. I'm definitely going to wear this shirt and this hat on the day when I go see the Avengers Age of Ultron. So shout out to Ripped Apparel. Check them out. They have all types of cool shirts on them. They have new designs every day. I'll put the link to their site in the description below. So I guess my question is, what did you think of Captain America: The Winter Soldier? Did you love it? Do you think it's the best of the standalone movies? However you feel about it, leave a comment below. That's it for the day. Like what you see, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to my other channel. The links are in the description below. And be sure to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. Peace.